Virtually attending or in person attending the 9th meeting of the Baltimore County Redistricting Commission. As is our custom, we'll go around and introduce ourselves, and we'll start with our 2 virtual commission members. So Dr. Davis, if you want to start off.
Good evening, Michelle Davis, District 1. Thank you.
Cordell Grant, District 4.
Thank you, too, for appearing virtually. I'm Eric Rockwell, representative from District 3.
John Delana, representing District 5.
Lisa Belcastro, District 2.
Albert Harrison, representing District 6.
Edward Kramer, represented the 7th District.
All right, thank you, commission members. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the April 16th meeting. You all have received them both over emails, and for those in person, there's a copy on your chair. Any comments regarding those minutes?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, the minutes are hereby accepted. Next, which will be the principal focus of this meeting, I would venture to say, is a discussion of the input that we've received both from the April 30th virtual public hearing as well as the emails that we've been getting on a regular basis. Anyone want to start out with their feelings about that?
As a representative, I thought we were going to discuss the map that we had before us, but most people were discussing the C map from the west side that was presented. So we really didn't have any discussion on the map that was presented. Just about everyone was in favor of the west side C.
Personally, I noticed a lot of feedback on the Southwest District, particularly the District 2 and the lines of how they're drawn. And also, I agree. While there was a lot of feedback for Woodlawn C, I think more so the sentiment was creating an additional BIPOC district on the east side. Those were the sentiments that I heard.
I will say with regard to the issue concerning where we draw the line between District 1 and District 2, obviously we have received, and I haven't counted them specifically, but I would guess 100 emails or in that neighborhood of folks that live inside the Beltway off of Frederick Road that don't want to be shifted to another district. I'd observe that if you go back and look at the earlier council district maps in our commission handbook, you'll see that that area has historically always been within the 1st district. So this would obviously be quite jarring for them now. In looking at the Woodlawn C map, I'll just say it, and I'm be frank and honest with it. The little appendage that extended over to include the Greenlee area into that created district, I just didn't appreciate it. I thought it was done for political purposes and not because it was particularly representative of the dynamics of the area of Greenlee at this point in time. I think that's an important thing to point out, because when I was looking at it in some depth and removed the Greenlee district, or the Greenlee part from that district, the numbers really didn't change hardly at all with return in terms of the percentage of black people within that district. So I'm saying, well, if the numbers didn't change, why are you extending it in a unusual and not compact manner into Greenlee? And the only reason I could think of is because there are people that live in Greenlee that want to run for political office, and therefore that's the reason it was extended as that. So that was one of my feelings and observations from Woodlawn C.
Hi. So thank you all for sharing. I think from what I observe, a lot from just hearing a lot of the testimony, a lot of the public input, I just think that the majority of the constituents, our constituents, are just wanting to keep communities together, and a lot of them were they were for, you know, at least on the west side, they were for the Woodlawn approach, and just making sure that there wasn't a diluting of power. And I think that from generally what I hear from the people is that they would just want to stay together so they'll have a level of power that they have continuously have, or that they have not had in the past, and that they have been working and building to keep. But that's what I gathered from the public hearing.
I want to thank everyone for their comments. And when I think about some of the personal goals that I had when joining this commission, just from being deeply involved in the community, working in multiple areas across Baltimore County, that there's a need to increase diversity amongst our representation in Baltimore County. And in that reflection, over the weekend, I worked on pulling together a new map that I'd like to present tonight, with the hope of adoption for consideration amongst the public, especially as we enter our last two public hearings. And I just want to start off by acknowledging that the task that we are undertaking to ensure compliance with the Voting Rights Act, to ensure that our districts are compact, contiguous, and also pay due regard for communities, it's extremely difficult, especially when we live in a county that's shaped like a horseshoe, has a neighboring jurisdiction right in the middle of it, and is surrounded by water on its east side. We heard a lot of feedback about our proposed map at the public hearing last week, and particularly that was around the shape of District 2 and the need for a BIPOC district on the east side. So in response to that feedback, I'd like to offer up this additional map for the commission to consider. This map creates a 2-2 option. It would create 2 majority black districts and 2 BIPOC districts. And the biggest changes in this map compared to the first iteration, they occur in districts 1, 2, 3 on the west side, and 7 on the east. So District 1, let's talk about District 1. This centers on the inner Beltway communities of the west side, the commercial district of Catonsville, and the communities of Halethorpe, Lansdowne, and Arbutus. And it was not easy in deciding where to draw the line in Catonsville. I know we've received a lot of feedback, but we tried to be thoughtful And we looked at both the commercial revitalization district lines and also the master plan's targeted area of Frederick Road, which you can see right here up on the screen. The demographics of District 1, as drawn here, are 44.89% white, 34.77% black, and an overall non-white population of 55%. District 2, this district centers on the Randallstown area and the outer Beltway communities of the West Side. The demographics for this district are 24% white, 60% black, and an overall non-white population of 75%. District 3 is centered on Owings Mills and its surrounding communities. The demographics for this district are 25% white, 48% black, and an overall non-white population of 74%. And last, we'll look at District 7, an East Side district. So this centers on the communities of Rosedale, Nottingham, parts of Essex, and the communities along the 95 corridor. And over the last 10 years, we've seen immense change in this region from being predominantly white to now being home to more Black, Hispanic, and Asian residents. And it's time that the diversity of this region be represented on the Baltimore County Council. The demographics for this district are 43.83% white, 38% Black, and an overall non-white population of 56%. Additionally, you'll notice that in this map, just as we've heard from the commissioners here and also from community feedback, that all the the waterfront communities are still intact. The Middle River area is whole, and the Kingsville area is whole as well. And that's it. I'm happy to take any questions and hope that we can consider adding this to the maps that the public can comment on and provide feedback for.
Lisa, I'll start with my home area. What's the dividing line between the Pikesville district and the North County district? Is it York Road all the way up?
Yes, York Road all the way up. There's certainly flexibility in this map, certainly ways that we can, this can be a starting point. I understand that, you know, things, I don't know your districts well, so I took put my best foot forward.
Tufton Avenue, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, right there. Okay. I'd ask the commissioners from the eastern side of the county, do they have any thoughts on that map?
Yeah, I'd just like to see, I mean, it's the first time I saw this, and I'd like to see some more definition with District 7, especially how the bootlegs and what areas they cover. I really need to look at that a little bit better. I mean, I can't tell by the map. I don't have any roads or, you know, really good roads or things to go by. But that's the things I would like to look at, especially since it's just presented tonight.
Want to go to the Kingsville area? Does that help?
Yeah, I sort of know that area somewhat better. Like I said, I'll just want to take a look at it rather than just saying yay, nay here, I want to really look at it and take it into consideration with the boundaries and all. That's my 2 cents.
Lisa, I appreciate the work that you guys have been doing on these maps, but I still haven't been able to interject or be able to see exactly what's going on at east side, because I'm looking at exactly what is the 7th district now, which was currently part of the 6th district.
It's part of.
And 5.
5, 7.
Six,
Part of 5, 7. Well, it's, think about it. It's Mike's, part of Mike's, Mark's,
and
Todd Crandall.
right. And the reason I say that is because, you know, I can agree with John. Today is the first time I'm seeing this map. I'm not sure whether, you know, looking at these roads, I'm trying my best to actually visualize what impact it has on the east side, knowing that the east side of Baltimore County was mainly built for industry. Most of us know that live on the east side in the central parts of Baltimore County know that it seemed like they took 83 as the dividing line and used the west side for residential and the east side they used for industry. Well, now that we know that there's a lot of more people, residents living on the east side, I'm just trying to look at the communities that's involved. And like I said, this being my first time, I need to actually look at the map in depth.
And I really haven't had a chance myself. I had a busy day yesterday. There's some things I can see in regards to changing. One of my concerns is with the Woodlawn approach and possibly even this one here. I haven't even had a chance. Our council we have right now, we have a 4-3 split in the council. And I'm going to tell you, I won't vote for anything that's a 6-3, if I can see it. I won't vote for it. But I'll digest anything and look at it and see if we can make changes or anything in that nature. We do have time. But I'm looking for a 5-4 split. The council works well together. I've seen where supermajorities, you can go look at Annapolis, and it's a disaster. I mean, their budgets went up 100% in 10 years because there's no, I'll stop right there.
Thank you for your comments. One of the things that I see playing out amongst the commission that gives me pause is I think that just having conversations that we're going to end up at a map that creates just 2 majority black districts. And I think that that winds the county up in a position where we could end up in a lawsuit. And I think that we have an obligation to try and find ways to bring more diversity to the council, to make sure that our elected officials are more representative of the population within Baltimore County. And so that is a concern that I'm seeing based on some of the things that we say, some of the conversations that we have behind the scenes. And I hope that we can figure out as a commission to find ways to, again, bring in more diverse representation within Baltimore County.
And Lisa, I will agree with you on that.
I'm wondering if Dr. Davis or Mr. Grant have any thoughts on the map that they just looked at.
I do. So this is Commissioner Davis, and I am definitely in support of something that brings fuller representation across the entire county. So I do support the 2-2 approach, understanding that there are some things that will require review and potential tweaking. But I am also concerned that today is May 7th, and we have a public meeting on Monday, the 12th. And I was hopeful that we would be able to have some dialogue so that we could put forth something to show the public that we have heard, we have considered, we have reviewed, we have processed, and we have reviewed additional emails since the public testimony that gives an ear to say that we are working for justice and equity, equality and fairness, and all of the other words that we heard across the virtual meeting, in addition to the dozens and dozens and dozens of emails that have come since that meeting. So to you, Commissioner, my question and or charge is, will you be putting forth the expectation that we have until X date to review this map that Commissioner Belcastro has put forward, to say that we need to give input by a certain date and time so that we can be prepared to publish something additional for our constituents?
Thank you, Dr. Davis. I think that was well said. I also share the sentiments of the commission of making sure that yes, we want an equitable and equal distribution amongst the county. I think that we all want everyone's voice to be heard, right? Across all demographics. I think I do share the sentiments of wanting to make sure that we do the job and get the job done, but also in that same vein, I think that I'm not trying to extend it. I just think that because we're a little bit under the gun, I think that we will miss certain things. And so, yes, I do think that we need to present something to the public, but I think that in a way that is going to hear some of their thoughts, to suggest or be perceived that we heard some of their thoughts and really took into consideration what it meant, especially under the VRA, especially under all of the different legal procedures and constitutional values as well, related to the map that Commissioner Belcastro has presented. I think, I truly thank you for putting in the time and effort. We've been discussing different ways the map can be drawn. I just want to make sure that the work that people who live in the county have been fighting for that power does not get diluted. And I don't know what that looks like. I've reviewed the map, and I think that, the intention is extremely well done. I just think that it's certain areas that I do think that can be changed for the betterment of the county. And I think that overall, we all have to come to a consensus. And I want to make sure that, because we're all on the same team, again, we're all citizens of Baltimore County. I just want to make sure that, we're doing the right thing.
Thank you, Commissioner Grant, for those comments. And I just want to remind you that the map that I've presented today has a district that is 60% Black, a non-white population of 74% in one district, a non-white population of 75% in the other, with a Black population of 58%. So I'm wondering if you can quantify what number you need us to be at to not be, in your opinion, diluting the vote of others.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those numbers are pretty good, pretty high.
Yeah, and there's the thing. I don't want us, because I don't want us to have like the discourse of disagreement of the numbers in a vacuum. I think that if we all move forward on a map and We try to make sure that those numbers are going to fit the criteria and are going to be in compliance. You know, that may look great on paper, but then we start looking at communities, we start looking at precincts, we start looking at all of these other different variations and factors. So no, I'm not necessarily shutting down all your efforts. But what I'm saying is, I think that when we present something to the public, it's something that I think that if the majority of us are all on board, I think it's an easier way for the public to fully understand and digest our own conclusions, if that makes sense.
I just noticed that we're starting to run out of time, and I'm really thankful to those on the commission that have brought forward tangible ideas, that have been ready, wanting to drill down and do the work and figure this out. I think we're beyond the point of being able to talk in hypotheticals. We have to be ready to talk about how we move this project forward. I don't have the bandwidth to go beyond June 14th. And we are running out of time. And I don't think any of us have the bandwidth to continue this work beyond June 14th. And so I really ask that we start to drill down, do the work, move ourselves forward. We have 2 public hearings coming up. We don't have any meetings in between those 2 public hearings, and we have to give the public opportunity to weigh in on additional ideas. So my hope is that we can move on this map tonight. I know you haven't had a ton of time to review it. I do apologize for that. We throw it out to the public. We allow them to have the opportunity to weigh in at our 2 public hearings. And then if anyone else has any ideas, I would love to see them. I would love to see the other ideas from the commission, and you know, things that are physically drawn up in our software, so that we can move forward. I am open to different configurations, especially on the west side. I am committed to 2-1 on the west side, though. So I need my dear commissioners to help me figure that out. I've been working really hard trying to figure out different configurations, but I'm not getting anything in terms that we're not getting other ideas out there. So I'm doing the best that I can. And I'm certainly open to guidance and ideas, but personally, I'm committed to 2-1 at least on the west side, but would love to see this 2-2 approach if I'm talking about the east side as well.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, after hearing all that has been stated, that takes me back to my original thought as well as question. Again, I want to clearly state that I am for the 2-2 approach. Obviously, in prior meetings, we talked about a 2-1 approach with emphasis on this west side of Baltimore County. But after further deliberation and speaking with commissioners, I thought that, and I still think that a 2-2 approach would be a good step into a collective of everything that we've heard in public testimony, as well as the tremendous outpouring of sentiments and thoughts, some aggressive, some not so aggressive, from our county constituents via email. So to Commissioner Belcastro's point, if we still need to review, and I'm totally okay with that, everybody needs to be able to understand, you know, enlighten themselves, get education, be able to pose questions that they have about what's being presented. But we have to come up with a timeline that we say, yes, go and review, but we need you to wrap that review up by this time. And if the review comes back with question and other things, then we have time to further discuss that, but without having something more tangible outside of just conversation, we're going to be stuck at this same conversation the next time we come together. So I would like for us to give consideration to putting a timeline in place so that we don't veer off the beaten path and we lose sight that we need to provide feedback and or something tangible to present other consideration, other maps, and other thoughts. I don't think we should leave this meeting tonight without having a deadline for this review and any further considerations. Thank you.
Yeah. Dr. Davis, before I let a couple of the other commission members speak, ultimately, that's where I think we should be headed. But before I start putting in motion some discussions on that, I wanted to hear from our other two members who I knew wanted to speak on the subject generally.
Yeah, I'd just like to jump in. We did have one hearing already on the 30th. We have one scheduled for Monday, and then the following Monday, we do have a draft map out there. I know amongst the commissioners, we have several maps floating around on our, computers and in writing. And I think to send anything else out there at this point would just confuse the public community. I think we should let the public community comment on a draft map that we sent out. In all fairness, that's what went out for the first public hearing. Folks wanted to submit additional ideas and all that came into the commission through emails and that maps, and we can have a chance to look at it. But I think the idea is, and at least I understand it in my head, is to take all the public comment we get from the 3 public hearings, from the emails, from the maps that are sent in from individuals. Then we sit down as a commission and come up with a map that we all 7 of us agree on. I agree that we need to have a timeline, not leave it open-ended, but I think to push other products out to the community right now would just be confusing. We should listen to the input, listen to the emails, look at the ideas, whether they come from a commissioner or they come from the community, which we have several maps from the community. Then we really roll up our sleeves, sit down, and work on coming up with a map to present. But we do need to have a deadline when we're going to do that. We can't just leave it open-ended. I agree not to go into June, end of June, July, August, or whatever.
I somewhat agree with what John is saying, but at the same token, our main goal was to come up with something that we as the commission would bring forth to the councilman, because no matter what we do or what we say here, the bottom line still have to go back to the council. The council still have to agree to what we agree on. And no matter what, I just see this effort that we're doing, no matter how we look at it, I just see that someone out there somewhere will bring forth some type of suit against the council. I don't see any other way of doing it. I just feel as though the citizens need to know exactly what we know. And this map that presented tonight, just leave them in the dust. They're in the dark. Like I said earlier, tonight would be the first time I saw this map, so that I know if this is my first time, how will the citizens look at it?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. I think I'm confused by Commissioner Harris's comment, because regardless of whatever entity or groups come forth and they choose to pursue any legal proceedings, no one on this commission nor the council has any control over that. All I'm saying is that we have to have some level of clarity, regardless of what was presented here tonight, who saw it for the first time, or whatever the case. That is the point, to say we're trying to give consideration to, will you go back and review this? If there is something that you are not, I don't even want to use the word content, but if there's something that isn't working for you, then present a map that shows what you believe will work. As I think it was Commissioner Grant said, a lot of observation was several people who were present during that virtual meeting, they did comment on the Woodlawn C map. Maybe some commented on Woodlawn B. I heard more C. So if the map is trying to give consideration to what we've already heard So we have 3 meetings. So that's 1 out of 3. That's 33%, regardless of how many people were present or not. I think what we're trying to say, or what I'm trying to say is, if we're trying to show a natural progression, right? We were challenged on several fronts. What are you guys doing? You're not on the right side of history. Do the right thing. Who are you presenting this for? Who are you working for? Are you taking the council people's directive on this? We're trying to show, in my opinion, with a natural progression, that as we are hearing feedback, we're trying to capture that in an illustration, or we're trying to give something that's demonstrative that we are listening and we're processing that information. Again, it doesn't mean that this is the end all for be all, because there are 2 more meetings, one on Monday and then another on the 19th. So if we're capturing this information progressively, or as we're processing information, all of these maps are in the database that we all have access to. So it doesn't mean that this is the thing that's going to stand. It means that we now have a resource that we can take into consideration, where again, we're trying to demonstrate information that we've processed and captured to take away, hopefully, these ideas of gerrymandering a map. So if we can't come to a place where, as a commission, that we are in agreement on how we need to proceed with capturing information, for me, I think it's counterproductive. So we want to wait till the end of all these meetings and then sit down and try to process and pick all of this apart. I promise you, I'm not going to remember that. I have a very demanding full-time job, and I'm doing the best that I can do to avail myself. But I, like others have said, beyond June 14th, I think it's a wrap. And so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I do have a question for Tom and Adam. I mean, we can put several maps out there for the people, for the citizens to look at. Yes, no?
Yeah, you can. I think one thing that is, that you need to remember, and again, remember that Adam and I and our staff, we're Switzerland, right down in the middle, so it doesn't really matter to us. But I will say, you have, I think as Dr. Davis said, there are a bunch of maps out there, none of which you all have endorsed. The Woodlawn C, the Woodlawn A, the Woodlawn B, the ACLU A, B, the ACLU template, which I guess would be kind of a C. They're out there, and people commented on them at the public hearing. So, and people commented on the map that you all agreed to put out there. And so if, you don't all have to, I guess what I'm saying is you can decide how to proceed. If you don't want to put out a map that you all are comfortable with being out there, that's your prerogative. On the other hand, I think to Commissioner Belcastro's point, if you all are okay with, an alternative map that maybe you're not all endorsing yet, but you're willing to have out there for public consumption to at least comment on, that's a logical way to go as well. So
Right.
So the answer is yes, you
Okay.
can. And again, you don't all have to be endorsing that map, Mr.
And that's where I'm going with this. It doesn't mean we agree or anything else. I think if we wait 2 weeks to put this map out there, John and Al, I'd rather have it out there now so people can review it, especially with Monday coming up, so they can let us know. We agree or disagree with this map. We may like this map and not the other maps.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask a couple of questions. The first is a question of staff. How long will it take you to take this map that Lisa's produced and put it in a format that would be consistent with the iteration 1 that we've produced?
The absolute drop dead deadline is noon on Monday. Now that is, frankly, that is making us work really quickly on Monday.
Yeah, that
would be-
bothers me, Adam.
I would be more
honest with
comfortable
you.
with close of business on Friday. If, as the drop dead requirement here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hold on one sec. Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of the things that we, in addition to the online and PDF version, we're going to be printing large format physical copies. And that is something that really cannot be rushed because it works as fast as the printer works.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. So if the commission can agree by close of business on Friday, I think that gives us enough time to do both the physical, online, and PDF versions.
Okay, with that being said, and I'm just expressing my opinion, we need the support, the up or down of the other 6 members, but my opinion would be that we say we're going to give ourselves Thursday and Friday to look this over in a little bit more detail, that by Friday afternoon, we say whether we're comfortable with putting it out for publication on Monday. And if we get a majority that say they're comfortable, we're not endorsing it, we're just putting it out for publication, that would be the procedure.
Thank you. I think that that's great. And in the meantime, while you're reviewing anything, please feel like you can call me if there's lines that you feel like need some tweaking for you to be comfortable. I'd be happy to jump on the phone and do that with you. I'm sure the staff would be willing to do that as well. So yeah, let's work together. Let's try and figure out a way to at least get it out for public comment, whether we're endorsing it or not.
Yeah, and to that point, I am, given the timeline, just at any point between now and then, on work hours, off work hours, I am here to help you guys make this work. So I know a couple of you have had some troubles online. If you want to just come in and, do it with me in person, if that would help, you're welcome to do that as well. We can jump on a WebEx with Lisa and you can talk it out. I don't want the staff to be a friction point here.
Well, with that being said, I think that we should go ahead and move with what the chairperson had already stated, that we should go ahead and look at this map by no later than Friday. Whether we agree or disagree, this is what we want to do.
And it should be like Friday by noon. Yes, that's.
Okay, I'm going to put what I just said in the form of a motion. I move that the commission accept the map presented tonight by Lisa Belcastro, that we have until Friday at noon to review said map, issue any comments that we might have, and that at that time, assuming we all send an email in and say we're comfortable, the map would be in the process of being published, so it would be available for public comment on Monday evening's public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a question. Is this going to be put out that this is not endorsed by the commission?
Yes,
this is going to be an alternate map?
Yes,
that anybody
this is
can
not
make?
endorsed by the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that's the process that we'll use going forward.
And if we haven't heard from someone by noon on Friday, we will reach out to that person.
Again, I just want to thank you for all the work that you've you have done, Lisa, for getting these maps out and with the help of the other commissioners. But I'm just thankful for the work that we already started.
Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts or reactions to the public feedback that we've received thus far? Okay. Hearing none, the next item on the agenda is future meetings and the public hearings. The public hearing, the first of which is on May 12th, this coming Monday. It's an in-person community public hearing at the Middle River Recreation Activity Center. My question is, are all the commission members very clear about how to get to the facility?
Do you have any other special instructions? Okay.
Well, I'm almost thinking if the staff could produce a map and send it out to all commission members, it might be helpful.
Absolutely. I was actually just thinking about, maybe a Friday email that gives address, time, maybe, when you get there, go to this door or something like that. Yeah, we can certainly help.
Okay.
I did have a question in regards to signing up for speaking. What was the time frame, Chris?
This is a Chris question.
It's already posted on our virtual meetings page. Give me 1 second. I think it's 9 to 3. Oh, sorry, I don't think this mic works.
That's okay, Chris. He'll repeat it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it should,
9 to 3.
9 to 3,
Everything's already posted on the webpage.
everything is already posted on our webpage.
Right.
Sign up is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. the day of.
Right.
For potentially large numbers. Both of the places we've reserved can hold a lot of people, upwards of 200 people. So if we had 27, I think, at the virtual hearing. So, if this garners a lot of interest, there will be enough space.
Okay.
Let's just hope it's a lot more than when we did from 7 to 9, because would we have maybe 18 was the largest crowd?
Okay. So we have that meeting on the 12th. We have a second public hearing on the 19th at the Randallstown Community Center. And then we should be thinking about meetings for the rest of the month of May. And the 22nd, as you'll see on your calendar, is sort of off limits for us because that's the budget adoption session. So we've got choices of the 20th, 21st.
What about the 21st?
I'm sure we don't want to, but the 23rd might be a last resort option as well. Any feelings about that?
The 23rd, that's Memorial Day weekend. Lisa's like, I'll be in the Poconos or something.
You have that right. In my perfect world, we would meet on the 20th, but that's just me.
Okay. Well, that's why I'm asking.
I'm flexible, 20th it is.
Do
Michelle
our virtual
Cordell?
commissioners, how they feel about the 20th?
I'm okay with the 21st or the 20th. Either one's fine.
However, I meet after the 19th, it'll be virtual. So if you do the 20th, I'll be virtual.
Okay,
The
okay,
21st
so
The 21st is better for me.
21st is better for you?
Yes, simply because I'm in the CPI.
Yeah, okay.
21st is no problem for me. I'll just be virtual.
21st? Okay, we'll do it on the 21st.
And then, how many more meetings do we want to have to close this thing out? I'm assuming if we have one work session on the 21st, maybe we have one more to close this thing out. Do we agree with that, or what are your thoughts, Chair?
Probably, I mean, I think the public hearings might inform us as to how many to some degree, but that sounds like a starting point.
So 1, 2, or 12?
Yeah, the 21st and 28th work with me. Just let you know, I'm going to be out of the country the 29th through June 9th.
Oh, then we gotta wrap this up. We're getting close to the 14th.
Yeah, okay.
21st and 28th.
29th.
Yeah.
Is this the Europe trip? Is that the Europe trip?
No, not yet.
29th.
29th.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good for me.
And you're back on the 9th. Do we want to schedule that final meeting now?
No, let's wait. Okay. Any other matters that need to be brought up? Hearing none, is there a motion to end the meeting?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, remember everybody, look over that second map.
I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Probably have no business. Back to the